Today's unequal world, the right to move freely isn't just about crossing borders, it's about being seen as human. For far too long, Africans have been treated as second-class global citizens, systematically locked out of countries that lecture them about democracy and human rights. The very same Western nations that looted Africa's wealth and dictated the rules of the global economy now build administrative walls so high that the average African needs to prove their entire life story just to attend a conference or visit family abroad. And this isn't just bureaucracy. It's racism in a visa stamp. Try applying for a visa to the US, the UK, or a European country if you are from Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, or any other African nation. You will be met with a mountain of paperwork, proof of employment, bank statements showing sufficient funds, letters of invitation, travel history, insurance, hotel bookings, and round-trip flights, all just to prove you won't overstay. Then, after spending hundreds of dollars in fees and enduring months of silence, you are hit with a cold, generic rejection letter. No explanation, no accountability, no appeal. Just a message that says, "We don't trust you, and we don't want you here." And while Africans are being treated like criminals before they even step foot in the West, a tourist from France or Canada can wake up in the morning and decide to go on a beach holiday in Senegal or Tanzania. No visa, no questions, no suspicion. It's a grotesque double standard that's been normalized for decades. Westerners get open doors and smile. However, Africans get locked gates and interrogation rooms. This is not immigration control. It's a colonial mindset with modern tools. These travel restrictions are not about security. They are about control. They reinforce a global caste system where Western citizens are free to roam the world, while Africans are fenced in like liabilities. The West dictates who has access to opportunity, and it does so through a visa system designed to humiliate, frustrate, and exclude. It's power dressed up as paperwork. But things are changing. Africa is no longer waiting for a seat at the table. It's building new tables with partners who don't see the continent as a problem to fix, but as a people to respect. That partner is Russia. Just recently, it has been revealed that President Vladimir Putin is expanding visa-free travel to African countries. This represents a strategic and moral realignment that says to Africans, "You are welcome, you are trusted, you are equal. No need to beg for entry. No need to prove you are not a threat. Just bring your passport, your plans, and your pride." This isn't just diplomacy. It's decolonization by design. While Western countries tighten their borders and revive racist bans, Russia is doing something radically different, opening its doors. This matters because in geopolitics, how you treat a person at your border says everything about how you view their nation. Putin's Russia is not only signing military deals with countries like Burkina Faso and Niger. It's now welcoming ordinary African citizens with no preconditions. That's people-level diplomacy, and that's a challenge to Western arrogance. Contrast this with Donald Trump, who in both his first and now his potential second term has made it his mission to keep Africans and Muslims out of the United States. His travel bans targeted people not because of who they were, but where they came from and what they believed. Nigeria, Eritrea, Sudan, Somalia, whole nations were smeared and shut out. Families were torn apart. Students were denied education. Sick people were denied treatment. Why? Because of a xenophobic fantasy that sees Africans as a threat rather than as equals. And now Trump wants to do it again. His allies are already laying the groundwork for new, broader travel bans that will target Africans and Muslims with the same cruelty as before. The NOBAN Act, which was meant to stop this madness, has been stalled in Congress. Without it, another round of racist, religion-based exclusion is just an executive order away. So let's be clear. While the West builds walls, Russia builds bridges. The visa-free agreements being pursued by Moscow are not just paperwork. They are proof that a new world is possible. A world where African passports are not seen as red flags, but as signs of global citizenship. where mobility is not a privilege for the powerful, but a right for the respected. But from Angola to Morocco, from Malawi to Tunisia, more and more African nations are signing on to a new travel order, one where respect replaces suspicion. These are bilateral agreements, not impositions, and they reflect a growing desire among African nations to reclaim agency, to diversify partnerships, and to stop dancing to the rhythm of Western dictates. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video, and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black Africa. Let's continue now. Let's also not forget the symbolic weight of these changes. When a continent has been denied access for so long, when its people have been stereotyped and shut out by the West, the simple act of saying, "You can come without a visa," is revolutionary. It's not about tourism, it's about dignity. It's about saying, "We want you, not just your minerals." So as Putin opens Russia's borders to Africa, what we are witnessing is not just a shift in travel policy. It's a reordering of alliances, a new moral hierarchy. It's Africa deciding who deserves to walk beside her into the future and who deserves to be left behind in the past. Now, let's know about the details of the visa-free policy for Africans. The visa-free plan allows African citizens to enter Russia for up to 90 days without a visa. According to Oleg Ozerov, Russia's ambassador-at-large and head of the Russia-Africa Partnership Forum, these agreements aim to strengthen people-to-people ties and reduce the bureaucratic barriers that have long hindered collaboration. The action plan, adopted at the second Russia-Africa Summit, clearly outlines Moscow's desire to streamline movement, promote investment, and promote educational and business exchanges. Alexei Klimov, head of Russia's Foreign Ministry Consular Department, also confirmed negotiations are ongoing with several African and Middle Eastern nations. Though timelines vary, he promised that updates would be shared as deals are finalized and signed. Russia has even taken the idea of access a step further. Through a recent presidential decree, Africans who enlist in the Russian military are now eligible for fast-tracked citizenship, not just for themselves, but also for their families. This includes spouses, children, and parents. However, getting citizenship is not a dream of everyone. Ordinary Africans want dignity. They want to travel for weddings, funerals, graduations, and business. They want a system that treats them as humans, not threats. Russia's visa-free offer, whether motivated by geopolitical interests or genuine outreach, is a step in that direction. Unlike the bureaucratic nightmares at Western embassies, the Russian approach says, "We trust you." And that trust builds goodwill. Already, African students are choosing Russian universities. African entrepreneurs are exploring Moscow and St. Petersburg for trade partnerships. And travelers are beginning to see Russia as an alternative to Paris or New York. The visa-free policy is also a massive soft power win for Russia. At a time when the West is painting Moscow as a global villain, Russia is cultivating genuine goodwill in Africa, not through propaganda as the West does, but through policy. Just imagine the contrast. The US detains Africans at airports. Russia lets them walk in. This public perception matters. It shapes voting patterns at the UN, trade deals, and military alliances. And with African nations commanding a larger share of global influence, Russia is wisely investing in relationships that the West has long taken for granted. The world is moving toward multipolarity. No longer do African nations have to choose between one superpower and another. But in this emerging world, how you are treated at the airport or the embassy matters. Russia has made its choice. It wants African travelers. It wants African business. It wants African friendship. Russia has shown that visa policies are more than just paperwork. They reveal the underlying attitude of a country toward others. And right now, Russia is showing Africa more openness, respect, and opportunity than the US or its allies. Putin's visa-free initiative could become one of the most symbolic and strategic moves of this decade. And if the West continues to build walls while Russia builds bridges, Don't be surprised when Africa walks through the Russian door. What do you think? Should Russia make travel visa-free for all African countries? Do you believe that inside Africa, borders should end, and any African from any country should be able to go anywhere on the continent? In the comment section right below, share your thoughts on whether the West will try to do the same as Russia to attract Africans. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring videos on Black Africa, its history, rich arts and culture, and things the world should know about.